What if I told you that the Earth was actually flat? Governments across the world have come together to deceive the public. The North Pole is here in the center of the Earth, with the continents spread out over this flat plain. And there's a 100-meter-tall ice wall that surrounds our flat Earth. And if you even think about going there, gods will be there waiting to get rid of you over our heads. Right now is a massive dome, and the sun, moon, stars, and everything we see in space is no more than little lights in the sky. There are now millions of people around the world who genuinely do believe this. But we proved that the Earth was round over 2,000 years ago, with nothing more than a hole in the ground. So I guess there's just one question. Are these people serious? No curvature there to be found. How can it be a ball if nothing about it is round? NASA's definitely in on it. And we absolutely know for a fact this ain't it. Is it an image? Images can be Photoshopped, right? You're going to notice some cartoon clouds here. Can't Photoshop. That the strange part about this flat Earth belief is that it's relatively new. You see, the ancient Greeks had proof that the Earth is round in like 500 BC, and how they did it is pretty crazy. But we'll get to that in a second. And yet the flat Earth is only really started emerging in the 1800s. And it all started with one main guy, Samuel Robotham. So it's the 1830s in England and science is taking off. There are discoveries popping up everywhere and technology is advancing at a ridiculous rate. But our friend Sam, he's not a big fan of all of this, and he believes that the Earth is actually flat. So he sets out to conduct an experiment to prove it. So he heads down to Old Bedford River in Cambridgeshire, a 10-kilometer long, relatively straight stretch of water. He proposed that if the Earth was really a globe, we should be able to measure the curve along this stretch of river. It should curve away from the observer, 8 inches after 1 mile, then 32 inches after 2 miles, and so on. So he jumps into the river with his little telescope and watches as a boat with a flag standing 1 meter above the water rows away from him. He claims that he could still see the boat even after the full 10 kilometers. And his calculations were correct. The boat should have been more than 3 meters below the horizon. He presumably exclaimed "Eureka!" and then wrote a book with his findings called Earth is Not a Globe, under the pseudonym Parallax, which is honestly pretty damn cool. It wasn't until Alfred Russel Wallace, an English surveyor, repeated the experiment, avoiding the errors made by parallax to prove that the Earth is actually a globe. He accounted for atmospheric refraction. And so that's the end of this idea, right? No more flat Earth theories. It's so obvious that the Earth is a globe. But that's where you're wrong. And you know why: the internet. But before we get into that, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video. Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is a VPN service that helps you to keep your online identity safe by encrypting all of the data that is sent from your device. And it allows you to access the internet via over 100 countries around our very spherical planet. My favorite way to use Surfshark is to change my virtual location to a different countries so I can access their Netflix. So, for example, Rick and Morty is not available on US Netflix, but using Surfshark VPN, you can quickly change the location to Australia where it is available. So if you want to check it out and support the channel, you can head over to surfshark.deal/AstroCody and use my promo code ASTROCOBI for 83% off and 3 extra months for free. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk in trying it out. My link is at the top of the description, and thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. I mean, I literally went and bought my wife and told her that the ass is flat. That's why, because of my multimedia background, I knew that all that stuff could be fake. You know, take it into Photoshop, take it in the After Effects. You know, just looking at that evidence, they can lie about the moon landings. They can certainly lie about pictures and satellites. And I can guarantee you that there is no curvature of or distance. As we mentioned, the age of social media, people are free to post about whatever they want. And as a result, The flat Earth theory has seen a huge increase in interest from YouTube videos to viral tweets and even a Mr. Beast video. This idea has spread like wildfire, and I'll be honest, some of it is genuinely hilarious. And now with platforms like TikTok, where 15-second clips can be viewed by millions of people every single hour, this idea and ones like it are given more power than they've ever had. But hold on. Surely they must have some proof that the Earth is flat, right? They must have done some experiments. Oh, they have. And let me just say, they are definitely something. In Netflix's documentary Behind the Curve, a group of flat earthers performed an experiment that flat earthers have been using since 1836 in an attempt to prove that the Earth isn't a globe. They used two boards, both with a hole 5 meters above water level, a camera, and a torch, and by lining up the torch with the holes, the light was able to go through both holes. And if the Earth was flat, no matter the distance between the boards, the light would come through the holes. And so they did it. They turned the light on, but no light seemed to appear on the camera. And I'll give you one guess as to why. Because the Earth isn't flat. My favorite part about all of this is that this very experiment was literally performed by our good friend Parallax. In that same verse, English River, they have honestly tried everything from laser gyroscopes. When we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift. We obviously were not willing to accept that. And so we started looking for ways to disprove that it was actually registering the motion of the Earth. Taking a spirit level on a plane, using telescopes and cameras at the beach, to even using weather balloons. And yet the results are always the same. They show that the Earth is a globe, or there's an issue with their experiment that physics can explain. But wait, I keep saying that we have known for thousands of years that the Earth is a globe, but how is that really possible? I mean, we only started launching satellites like 60 years ago. And that's the beauty of it. It's not really that hard to tell that the Earth can't be flat. There seems to be a bit of a common misconception that Christopher Columbus discovered the shape of the Earth. But in reality, we had known that the Earth was a sphere for centuries before he was around. The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle argued that the Earth must be a sphere based on his observations of the stars. He assumed that every star was the same distance from Earth, and they appear to be moving in a circular pattern around the planet. And then along came Eratosthenes of Cyrene. Awesome name. I know he was a geographer and a poet, and he set out to measure the circumference of the Earth, proving it was a globe. So he devised an experiment. He figured that if he could compare the position of the sun's rays in two locations, he would be able to calculate the spherical size of the Earth. In Syene, Egypt, there was a well where the sun's rays would illuminate only the water at the bottom at midday on the summer solstice. Eratosthenes observed that a pole in Alexandria cast a shadow during the same time, indicating that the sun was not directly overhead but slightly south. Using trigonometry, he calculated the Earth's circumference to be about 40,000 kilometers, with a margin of error of less than 2%. The Earth's spherical shape is evident from lunar eclipses and the appearance of other planets. Observing boats disappearing over the horizon led Aristotle to doubt the flat Earth theory. While the belief may not be genuine, it stems from skepticism towards governments, education, and science. Science helps uncover truth through